why do you think most people aren't vegan in the world of today?
What a question. We had this year hundreds of people saying yes to us as a group of activists.
How would you advise people to build muscle on that diet?
So why everyone is talking about protein? Why everyone is talking about bulking?
Hi, and welcome to this new episode of The Light Leaders. Today I'm with Stefano. And Stefano, I've been following you on Instagram. You're an influencer talking a lot about veganism and also how to get strong on that diet. So today we're going to talk about the ethics of veganism. We're going to talk about also how to be strong, how to be a good role model on that diet. So thank you so much for joining today. For now, I'd like to focus on ethics and nutrition. And to start with, Stefano, I'd love to ask you, what do you typically eat in a day?
That's easy because I really eat the same things most days. So my day starts with a liter of water. And that's actually important because I forget to drink water. So like for me, it's really important to drink that liter at the beginning of my day. Coffee with plant-based milk. And today I didn't have breakfast. I decided to fast, but usually I would have porridge with 200 grams of raspberries and plant-based milk. Then I would snack on like 3 pieces of fruit in the morning and a couple of dates. And then my lunch will be a fruit meal. I have about 8 to 10 bananas and like 300 grams of lettuce. And then my snack in the afternoon would be usually I have hummus with breadsticks. And then in the evening, I have a soup with tofu. Now it changes, but the one we have now is broccoli, red peppers, courgettes, and I would cook that with potatoes. So that's my day of eating.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I also wanted to fill into that because I've been personally vegan mainly. Let's say I started 7 years ago, now more strictly. And but raw vegan also, probably 90% of what I eat is raw and 80% is fruits. And I know a lot of my subscribers on the channel are really interested specifically in the raw vegan. So here you have it. The discussion is going to be between Stefano and that's more the diet. And then we can look also into maybe the difference between how you're eating and getting these kind of results maybe on the raw vegan diet. But before we get into that, I would like to dive a little bit more into the ethics of being vegan and why it makes sense in the world of today. So, Stefano, when did you become vegan and why?
I became vegan during COVID, and the process of discovering veganism, let's say, started with my business. So I started my online business coach. Something that I learned is that I had to start creating content. And I was already plant-based for the environment, even though I thought that I was vegan. And so I thought, let's go and check out what vegans are doing online, and maybe I can do something around it. And as soon as I start my research, I found out about Joy Carpstrong and Gary Yourofsky, but especially Joy Carpstrong. At the time, he was doing street debates with people around veganism. And, I found out immediately that he wasn't talking about the environment. He was talking about the animals. And at the time, he was also doing his debates with videos of slaughterhouse together. Like he would add the slaughterhouse footage to his debates. And yes, so I come from a place where my mind was very conditioned to think that animals are objects. Well, maybe not objects, but they're here for us, right? They're resources. Because when I was little, I was surrounded by, like family farms. So I would see the chicken being slaughtered. I would see the rabbits, and so to some degree, you get conditioned to it and you truly think that's normal. Even though I remember it was also distressing, especially when I saw once a pig being killed. That was very not nice to watch. I remember me going behind my mom. I didn't want to see that. And so I never was like naturally empathetic towards animals, I would say, you know. But Joy Carbstrong, with his word, helped me rationalize that. Remind me that animals are people. They're different. They have hair. They have pose. They don't speak, but they have family. They feel emotion. So behind this different skin, there is a person. This is how I see it. And so that realization, this rationalization, made me also was made stronger by the fact that I just adopted my dog Nina, and she was chilling on the sofa, and at the same time I was looking at Dominion, documentary about animal agriculture, and I was looking at those pigs in farrowing crates. The female, they are forced to be in those cages for like weeks in a row to feed their piglets. And so I was comparing like my dog on the sofa just chilling and those pigs that are the same individuals. They're sweet. They just want to live free, and they are vulnerable and docile, and they're forced to live this horrible experience and violent experiences. And yeah, so this is how I made the connection. I realized that, living vegan is the only right thing to do. I did not want to be part of that at all. Like I was, I never questioned it. I was like, what? No, that's not me. I didn't research about how to eat a plant-based diet. I was just like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm going to eat plants now. And it was the injustice that really touched me. I can say that I lived injustice on my skin when I was a kid, with the bullyism, right? From different areas of my life. I was picked on from other children because we moved a lot with my mom around. And I had to always insert myself in a new situation. So I lived this kind of injustice on me, and I related to the injustice that animals are going through. And that was 2019. When was COVID? I don't remember.
2020.
2020, yeah, 2020.
Okay, interesting.
And I would like
Yeah,
to add just one quick thing, that because people usually are interested as well on how long have you been eating a plant-based diet, right? And so this was the story of like me making the connection with the addicts and with animals, but I was already eating a plant-based diet from 2 years, prior to that.
But that was mainly for health reasons then, or the environment?
Environment. That was was for the environment. This was what motivated me, and also like the health part. But what made me click was the environment.
Nice. And since then, you've gone pretty full on. You now have vegan on your neck, and is it Animal Defender on your cheek? So there's no turning back.
Also, no. Actually, this. So while I was researching and everything, I did made also the decision of becoming an animal rights activist. So as I made the connection, I already knew, okay, I want to do what this guy is doing. on YouTube, or something similar. And I made the vegan tattoo before my first animal rights action as a commitment to it. And actually, it was kind of in a rush because I knew when my first event was, and the tattoo shop didn't know if they had spaces, so I made everything possible to make it happen before my first event.
Thank you, Stefano. And it's an interesting one with the activism, because there's a part of me that finds it very brave and very effective. Also, I also watched. So for me, it started with reading *Sapiens* by Yuval Noah Harari and really questioning the whole reality. And part of it was realizing that yes, what we do to animals right now, if I were not conditioned and coming with uh, a new mind, almost like an alien to planet Earth, I would think, what the fuck? I would find it really weird and would find it really cruel and really bad. And I think actually that few generations from now, people will look at factory farming, at least in the way it's done now, the same way as we look at some of the atrocities of the past and don't understand how people could do that. So I had this, and then I think I watched What the Hells, maybe Conspiracy, like some of these documentaries, and they really help. They really help to convince me back in the days. Yeah, that was probably 7, 8 years ago. And at the same time, I'm wondering sometimes if going too much in people's face can have some backlash and get people to not like veganism for that reason. I know there is a lot of resistance to veganism. So a part of me thinks, well, everyone should be vegan. It just makes so much sense. And on the other hand, I'm like, why not? And why do people have such a resistance to vegans? And maybe part of it is that strongly activist side. Do you feel that activism is helping?
Absolutely, big time. We here in Malaga is 2 years now that we organize event every weekend, and we see how people recognize us. They pass by us and say, "Ah, they are the vegans." So definitely helping to raise awareness. So the movement is growing. Um, and you talked about like having backlash from people or having kind of a negative reaction to kind of put the problem in their faces, right? And that is just a natural aspect of change. You cannot have change without that. And it's a good thing. It's not, we don't have to look at it as a bad thing. And we also don't have to think that causing that have somewhat the opposite effect, right? Like having people moving away from veganism. That is not true. And why do I know that that's not true? I know that that's not true because I have people saying that they will go vegan all the time, multiple times during an event. We had six. I had six saying, yes, I will go vegan at the end of a conversation this Saturday, right? We had this year hundreds of people saying yes to us as a group of activists. And now the people that have a negative reaction to us telling them they're doing something wrong, they are the cause animals are being exploited. This is just a reflection of who they are. And we cannot change that, and we shouldn't fear causing that. Because at the end of the day, if we change the approach to activism and try to soften the message because we don't want people to have that reaction, then what we do is not going towards change. So the way we present the solution needs to be correct. So if you presented the solution as, oh, okay, this is the information, do whatever you want, then we're not presenting the world we want to live in. We're not presenting a world where animal exploitation is unacceptable. We're presenting a world where it is acceptable. So focus on the message and not the response, because the message is correct, the message is truthful, the message is right. Whatever people do with the message is unfortunately out of our control. But I would say that if you make the same example on a human injustice, right? Like slavery. Now it's illegal, right? So now people will have to go to jail if they, authorities find out that this is happening. They are enslaving people and for some kind of work. And so in this case, we would force people not to do that injustice by putting them in jail, right? So now the only thing we can do is telling the truth, being direct, and educate them with words that they should go to jail because that's wrong. You know what I mean? And once, if hopefully at some point it will become illegal, well, people will be going to jail or get fined, but right now the strongest message we can send is that it's unacceptable to continue to exploit animals, and be truthful on the fact that if you're not a vegan, well, this is happening because of you.
I love that. And giving people the power and the responsibility with it. And actually, it's interesting what you share about like when people have a strong reaction, maybe they're the one that are going to shift. There's a quote from things from Gandhi, which is first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. And so if people have that strong reaction, it might be because there's something in them that feels it's not right, and they're trying to defend that too. So I'd love to ask you then, like, to me, it makes so much sense that, well, I'll just ask you, why do you think most people aren't vegan in the world of today?
What a question. I just want to also add to what we said earlier that you mentioned, like the reaction of people says a lot about them as well. And one specific reaction I think is misunderstood or not seen by many people is how people, let's talk about me, how people follow me and keep talking to me when I don't want to talk to them anymore. When I already made the decision that this person is not open to the message and my energies are wasted with this person, so I just leave the conversation with, listen, this is your fault, your excuses are not valid. I'm leaving the conversation. I will talk with someone else. And it's amazing how people follow you and they want to continue talking with you. And that is a great proof that there is something in their mind that doesn't want to accept the guilt or feels the guilt. So they're trying to look for validation from someone that they know is doing the right thing and saying the right things. So it's very interesting.
Thank you.
When this happens.
Thank you for that. And I feel for me, I'm totally open-minded to having conversation with people eating meat, especially when they try to source it in a certain way and they feel it's really important for their health. I'm open to that, but I feel on the factory farming, it's only unconsciousness, it's only weakness. Like there's absolutely no argument that I would be open to that would defend factory farming the way it's done today in the world.
Well, so to the question why people are vegan.
Like we're still in a minority, right? A huge minority. we're such a
Vegan.
minority. Like if you go
Yeah.
around the world, it's very rare still.
Uh, well, I would say there are definitely non-vegans for not the right reasons, and you know, even if it sounds harsh, it does come from being selfish, hypocrite, and weak. Now, does this make everyone a bad person? Well, it makes them bad on this topic for sure. And you know, it's a problem. I think some people truly see animals as a resource, right? They really cannot make that connection, and partly, you know, like many humans love power, love being in control, and so being in control of animals make them feel good, and they prioritize this over the freedom of animals. There's others that are not strong enough to even say no at the restaurant, right? And don't want to have that social pressure on them of being the weird one. Um, and then and then you have the one that really cannot like make the connection in their brain. You know, like something that I really don't understand. But there's two things that I truly don't understand when it comes to how the brain of these people work. And the first one is when you have people almost trying to convince me that their position about how to exploit animals is right. They're like, I'm here with animal agriculture footage. I am vegan. I am telling you to respect animals. How? Why do you think that I will be changing my mind on you saying, oh, but yeah, you know, like if it's a quick death and they don't feel anything, I think it's okay. No, man. Why do you think I would support your position in that? Um, and and yeah, like this is in the same line. Like people truly thinking that okay, they can respect animals is if they give them somewhat a good life, um, and they struggle to understand that the lack of respect starts when you discriminate animals, when you say you can do whatever you want with them instead of recognize their desire of being free of exploitation and free of suffering. So these things.
Yeah, thank you, Stefano. These are good examples. Another category I would add, which is probably the one I would personally respect the most, in that are the people who understand but really feel that their health is impacted by that. And towards after in the interview, let's talk a little bit about the health too. But I feel that's in a more conscious place where I'm living in Bali, in Ubud. There's a lot of people that wanted to go vegan and feel like they'll have deficiencies, all the things that we'll talk about. And I feel that's another category of people that then try to do it as consciously as possible and feel that it's the right thing to do for their own health and body. But before we get into that, I would love to ask you, uh, because in my perception, obviously, since I became vegan and raw vegan, the world around me has gone more in that direction too. And I feel it's also objectively that there are more vegan restaurants. Even where I grew up in Paris, I don't think that would have existed when I was a teenager, or rarely. So there are definitely more vegan restaurants. There are definitely good wins for the vegans. But at the same time, I can feel there is a lot of backlash. And even when I look on social media, big influencers, a lot of them will be more carnivores, even and the biggest vegan, they're quite big, but I'm not sure if it's my perception that the world is going vegan or if it's actually also a trend that's happening. So my question to you, Stefano, is: do you feel the vegans are winning?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I did. You know, when it comes to winning, we're making progress. We're making progress, but it feels hard to me to say that we're winning because we have done so much damage already to animals, and uh, we are just trying to catch up with that, but we are still, well, I would like not to say we, but animals are still exploited on a massive scale. So that's definitely a loss. But yeah, we're definitely growing as the vegan community in Malaga. There are new restaurants. There are more and more activists online that are doing a great job. So I think we will make. And you got cities like Berlin. Berlin is a super vegan city. In London as well. Like in these cities, you start to have those conversations where you have the two sides, and you start having the two different tribes, and that's cool. That's what should be happening. And going back to the beginning, like this is normal. That's going to happen. Do not fear that. There's going to be a division, vegans and non-vegans. It's absolutely normal because we still have slavery. So like the concept of thinking that everyone has got a vegan inside, I don't think so. There are psychopaths out there as well. So not everyone is going to be willing to be vegan. That's why we will have to we will need laws at some point to actually stop animal exploitation. But yeah, in London you have a lot of apartments that only want vegans, for example, and this is definitely something amazing that didn't exist before. So there is a change, and yeah. But by the way, earlier you asked me like, why do you think people aren't vegan instead of? And I think I answered you to the question why people don't go vegan. So to the question why people aren't vegan, well, in that case, I would add that they're misinformed. They're ignorant. They don't know the information yet as well, just like me, because I wasn't vegan, right? So there's definitely an understanding of that, of course. And in fact, when in Anonymous for the Voiceless, we open the conversation, giving people an opportunity to be a good person. Right? We do not start conversations in an aggressive way, thinking that this person is inherently bad from the beginning. Yes, we take the position and make sure that they understand that they are the oppressor in that moment, but we give the person the opportunity to open their point of view and be better.
Thank you. Yeah, that's interesting. And by the way, living here in Ubud, it's interesting because here a lot of the top restaurants are vegan already. So it's interesting when we're thinking about where the world is going. Like to me, living here is also a statement that I'm here to create the new earth, but I'm also living in it in some ways right now. And in my reality, it's actually normal that a lot of restaurants, if not most of them, would be vegan, actually. I'd love to ask you also, do you know of any country that has banned factory farming already?
No, no. The best news I got was from the Joey Armstrong documentary, Pignorant. And thanks to his investigation, this slaughterhouse actually shut down. So
Yeah, I think in years to come, I would imagine some countries to start banning factory farming, hopefully. And I know for me, it's also one of my goals in this lifetime is that when I transition, some things are very different, right? Like there's no war, there's no some of the things we see in the world, and one of them is definitely no factory farming for sure. Hmm. Um, yeah, now I'd love to move a little bit to the health topic because, as I mentioned to you before, I feel one of the reasons I see also here especially young men who want to build muscle, like they might know, okay, this is not good, but they might think, okay, I'm going to source the meat as ethically as possible because I need it for my health and I need it to build muscles. And that's where I feel it's really important to not only be the activist that talks about it, but also be the embodiment that can show people that you can do really well on that diet. Do you think everyone can thrive on a plant-based diet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now we have science on our side. I don't personally have all the solutions, but when I do get people like coming at me with some specific like problem, I tell them, look, science, it's clear, like you can be healthy at all stages of life on a plant-based diet. And so now keep in mind that it's not the animal's fault if you have these specific requirements. So you can look for a professional doctor or a nutritionist that can help you find your solution. Okay. So do it. There will be the solution for sure. And, uh, but yeah, everyone can be healthy on a plant-based diet. Healthier, we should say. We also know that you are surely going to be healthier once you remove animal products.
And how would you advise people to build muscle on that diet?
And I think the first thing that you need to do is understanding that nutrition does not build muscle. And you might ask yourself, so why everyone is talking about protein? Why everyone is talking about bulking? Why everyone is so obsessed about nutrition online? And here's my answer to that. And that answer is marketing. Marketing works like this. The more people are interested in a topic, the more that topic is going to be talked about and used as a way of selling you a product or getting engagement from you. And it's very simple. Like when I talk about protein, when people talk about protein, you are out there clicking, oh, I want to know about protein. And that's why everyone is talking about protein. But reality is that, again, protein does not build muscle. Training does. Your ability to get stronger in your workout will stimulate your muscle to grow. But also, there is this confusion that eating a low protein diet does not allow you to build muscle. And that's actually like a straight lie from many coaches and influencers online, because nowhere in like basics, I'm not super scientific based guy, but I know the basics and I look at the big picture. And nowhere it's said that you cannot build muscle with a low protein intake. Let's call it, which is not low, by the way. It's low because of the information we have out there, but it's actually the recommended daily intake: 0.7, 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight is more than enough. And you can eat more protein if you want, but here's the thing: if you have a low protein target, that allows you to worry less about the protein intake and introduce more fruit into your diet, which is naturally lower than other like products in protein, but is going to really optimize your energy levels and health, because that's our species specific food. We are primates. We are not dogs or lions. It's crazy how many people bring the lions into the conversation. um you know the debates around veganism. It's like everyone is programmed to say lions, but what about lions eating a gazelle? Why they can eat meat and I cannot? But yeah, anyway, we're primates, so you'll feel your best increasing your fruit intake. I have been increasing my fruit intake now since, oh well, it's almost 1 year. Last March, April, around that period, and my protein intake is always below 70 grams, and I got stronger over time. I also built some muscle because I take measurements, and it seems that I built some muscles, and so everything is good. But what you need to focus on if you want to build muscle is not just doing a workout. A workout is not going to help you build muscle. You need to get better at the workout. And literally, this can apply to whatever you're doing. Maybe you're doing just push-ups. Okay, that's fine. Okay, not the most optimal way to build chest and tricep, but if over time you get up to 1,000 push-ups per week, well, that's going to help you build muscle. And of course, you can do that in different way. You can increase reps, you can add weight to yourself, improve the technique at which you are executing an exercise. Okay, of course, there is a better way to do it, and the most optimal way to do it. But the concept of progressing in strength over time is the number one thing that you need to have in mind if you want to build muscle. And when it comes to nutrition, think about nutrition as a way of optimizing your health, and just make sure that you eat enough calories. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, thank you. And happy to hear you eating more fruits. As mentioned, a lot of my audience is raw vegans slash fruitarian. And yeah, it also comes from the recognition that we're basically primates, and that's primates in nature would eat mainly fruits and a little bit of greens and wouldn't cook their food as probably a most optimal diet for it. And obviously that doesn't focus on protein at all. And also, so we have the same view on that. Yeah, and also you need to eat a lot when you eat fruits and greens, big quantities to get enough
Yeah.
calories to build the muscle. So that's an important point, because a lot of people, when they go raw vegan, if they eat the same quantities as when they were eating like rice and beans, well, it's not going to be a lot of calories because it's not very calorie dense. So it's important to eat more. And yeah, I'm curious if you want to, maybe if you try like a whole month fully raw high fruit, how would you feel and how it would impact
I
your
did
muscles?
actually. I did 2 weeks, 2 weeks only fruit. Mainly fruit. I didn't have
How was
much
it?
vegetables. I felt the best I ever had, to be honest, and I wasn't even eating enough calories because I was trying to kind of doing it together with a caloric deficit to lose some fat. But yes, compared to the other time in which I was doing a diet to lose fat, this was the time I felt the best. Not only energy wise, I felt calmer, and the digestion was perfect. Like never been so good. Really,
Mm.
digestion was very good. Morning toilet. That's it for the day, and yeah, so very very regular, and didn't feel bloated at all. But what you said, it's actually something very, very, very important that people should understand, because it doesn't only happen with people that go raw on a plant-based diet, but it happens in general with people going on a plant-based diet. When they go vegan, you need to understand that you're probably going from a diet that is high in fat from animal products. um, Perhaps you're using more oil, you're eating more, processed food. Usually people, when they go vegan, they start eating healthier overall, eating more fruit and vegetables. So it's important to understand that fruit and vegetables are indeed lower in calories, and you need to eat more, or perhaps you need to eat more of some fatty foods to help you increase your calories. Because I went through a very bad periods when I started actually with plant-based diet. And I woke up tired. I was going to sleep tired. I had brain fog. My libido was shit. And I didn't know what was happening. I started to believe that non-vegans were right. Oh, it's true that, as a vegan, you're malnourished. You cannot get all the nutrients. I started to fast, thinking that would cleanse in and give me more energy, and that felt good. But it didn't solve the problem overall. Until I read a book about plant-based nutrition, and all of these symptoms were listed as related to an uncontrolled caloric deficit. So I needed to eat more, and there was it was very cool because as soon as I started to track my calories and eat enough calories, I felt good. Like two days after, like my energy level started to be stable again, and I felt good. Because you need to keep in mind that in this period I was training, I was working as a personal trainer, I was standing all the time. So I was probably burning, I don't know, 3,500 calories per day. And I was eating sometimes only 2,500 calories or something like that. Because I was over focusing as well on like whole plant food. I wanted to eat healthy. I tried to eliminate pasta grains, eat more potatoes. And by the way, you can do it. Like you can eat only fruit, but you need to understand that you need to learn how to eat as well. So make sure that you eat enough calories.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually eat like 5 or 6 times a day, actually, especially if I do only fruits because it digests quite quickly. I'd love to ask you then if you felt so good on fruits. When I asked you at the beginning what you eat in a day, there were a few pieces of fruit in the beginning and then lunch. So definitely some parts, but maybe like, that be 30 or 40% of your calories? Why don't you do more then?
Well, it is a good question. Like for me, I think that's the way to go. Like eating a 100% fruit-based diet. But I found it unsustainable for me for different reasons. One reason is the quantity of fruit that you need to have at home. Like I eat 3,000 calories per day. So that's a lot of bananas.
Bananas and avocados. I mean, technically, avocados, they're like fruit family.
Yeah. um, and what else? Yeah, the quantity of food, the price as well, like is not, you need to really, yeah, I mean, fruit in general is going to be more expensive per kilo compared and per calories compared to like beans and rice. So that's another reason. And then yeah, the quantity is actually not a huge problem. I enjoy eating a lot of fruit. I think the quantity that you need to have, so you need to always be aware of buying and having enough fruit, and just the space that it takes at home. For the most part, uh, for the rest, I would say that there is no other important reason. I'd be happy to eat
Mm.
100% fruit, or at least mostly.
I love that you mentioned the space that it takes at home. I'm going to do something new on this podcast, but it's very relevant for what you shared. I'm going to show you. So maybe if you come to Bali, that's like a good idea because then it's also like cheaper prices. But that's kind of how my kitchen looks like.
Yeah, you need to have always fruit. Yeah.
Yes, no, that's good. And even if you look into the fridge, you have durian.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever tried durian?
Nice. No, yes, I did. I was in Asia for 3 months, 2 months.
Okay.
I like
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, I like durian as well.
Mm. Hey. So
So
yeah, thank you so much.
you eat only fruits?
No, but I eat like 80% fruits. I eat fully vegan and then maybe 90% raw. I like to make salads also, and 70 to 80% is fruit. Yeah, that's how it's been 4 years. I definitely build muscle on it. I even did a 2 week water fast like almost 2 years ago, and then rebuilt from that. So yeah, it's been an
Wow, wow.
interesting journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I did also 3 days water fast a few years ago, and this year I did, I think, 2 or 3, like 2 days water fast, and I was getting into doing some 24 hours intermittent fasting. I love the 24 hours or 20 hours, whatever it is, It's because you can, yeah. First of all, after a fast, food tastes amazing, and just for that moment, I love fasting. It's so good to eat after 20 hours, and also you can like binge basically for 2-3 hours. You can just spend the 3 hours on eating, and then you go to sleep. I don't know, I like that kind of intermittent fasting. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, bro. And if you want to, look into more the raw vegans and the fasting, I have so many interviews and podcasts on it. I've had a lot of the top leaders in it, Doug Graham, Dr. Morse, Professor Spira, Lauren Lockman, a lot of these guys. So yeah, you can have fun with my channel on that. And thank you for coming here, Stefano. It's been a real pleasure to do this interview. I'll put your links obviously in the description so people can follow. Also, if thank you for being here as a viewer and watching until the end of this episode. By the way, if you're interested to start your own podcast and YouTube channel, hit me up, check the link in the description. I'd love to help you, especially if you have a important message to share with the world. And also, of course, like, subscribe, and share if you want to support the message here and this channel overall. Before you leave, Stefano, I would love to ask you, do you have anything else that you'd like to share with our viewer today?
Well, just want to make sure that they understand that in the links there is a free guide that can help you organize your plant-based diet as well as start training with calisthenics, as well as a like 12 months progression that you can use to build muscle and do the right thing. Like try to see this injustice, what happens to animals, from the victim position and not from your position if you're not a vegan, because that's the oppressor position, and it's easy to justify your action. You need to put yourself in the victim position, and if you're already vegan, animals need you to speak up for them, do something. I know it's uncomfortable, but just remember how uncomfortable it is for the animals. So just a little effort for them will help.
Share this episode. Share this episode with a few of your friends that need to hear the hard truth.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stefano. Much love to you and much love to everyone.